All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem B'chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. Now, I found this online. Brothers did videos on it, but I kind of just watched it on the elders' channel. But it says, why were Baal statues burned at Iran's revolution anniversary rallies? You see, no one's going to be burning up things like this if it didn't matter, if these other gods didn't exist and if they weren't being worshipped in this time. So to think that, these things ain't going on, you should be familiar at least with there's plenty more gods than just Baal and the Canaanite gods, but it goes to show you that everything about Israel is like the most important thing. If Israel, that's why they, not too long ago, they had calves all over the place, just all over the place. And that's something that Israel worshiped when they came out of Egypt. So that's the type of, everything is based upon Israel. This whole system is based upon making you go off. The heathen, they don't have the law, statutes, and commandments, and therefore they don't, they don't really, the Lord don't, you read Isaiah 40, second and just the 6th chapter, it goes into how the Lord look at these heathen as nothing, but what it is they sacrifice, it's like if you can get Israel to go off, that's the best thing to do, man. Okay, if you can make them sacrifice to gods like this, that's when these gods actually get power. You make Israel go off, because you other heathen, y'all don't have the law, statutes, and commandments. So you could worship whatever the hell you want and not get put. You still get judged, but not to the extent that Israel would. Okay, but it says during organized rallies, I'll read the caption under the picture. It says demonstrators burned a large horned bull-headed Baal statue during a state organized rally marking the anniversary of Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution in Isfahan on February 11, 2026. So I just want to see why they even did this. During state organized rallies marking Iran's 1979 Revolution anniversary, demonstrators in several cities burned large statues of a horned, bull-headed figure identified by organizers as Baal, an ancient deity referenced in the biblical and Islamic tradition. So I didn't even know he even transcends the Bible. But everything first and foremost comes from the Bible. The burnings, some reported to have taken place at the same time in different cities, were presented by organizers as a symbolic protest linked to renewed online conspiracy theories surrounding the late financier Jeffrey Epstein and alleged child abuse Western elites. You see? So, that's Esau being exposed. So they're putting his gods up on the chopping block. Iranian news agency Mehr said the effigy represented the idol of Baal, described in religious texts as a false god associated with the deviation from monotheism. Participants chanting death to Israel and death to America were quoted as saying the act symbolized resistance to what they described as corrupt Western systems and Zionist ideology. So here it is. This is even going out on the other side of the world. Now you've seen images of the Baphomet. But you look into these type of gods, man. These type of gods, these are those Canaanite gods, wicked as hell, man. Some nasty shit that Esau's into. Let me grab this in the book of Wisdom of Solomon. It's good to see these things be exposed, man. It shows you that, it shows people they still exist. Okay, Wisdom of Solomon 12:1, for thine incorruptible or uncorruptible spirit is in all things. So the Lord's spirit is in all things, because his wisdom is what created everything. And through his spirit, all things exist. Therefore, chastenest thou them by little and little that offend. and warnest them by putting them in remembrance. So that's what he does with us. He chastens us by little and little. You know, not like he does the other nations. He's long suffering with them because he's going to bring forth a major destruction on them. And look how much the nation of Israel went through. But and through all of the things we've been through, he always left a remnant. We always had this word, even through slavery. You know, the Lord always kept us with this word. So if we didn't have that, man, we would have been fully just, I don't even know where we would have been if we didn't have the Lord, if we didn't have this word. So therefore chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance. So he put us in remembrance by giving us our nationality back, giving us the name of the Lord, having us come back to the understanding that we're Israel, wherein they have offended. We offended by breaking the law, statutes, and commandments that we agreed to obey in Exodus 24th chapter, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. Okay, but the point is, leaving their wickedness was just leaving, repenting, pretty much. Okay, for it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers, which is Joshua. He's the one who crossed over the Jordan and led us into destroying the heathen, the Canaanite nations that were in that land. But when you read the book of Joshua, it shows you that, was it Joshua or Judges? I believe it's the book of Joshua, but we didn't destroy all the Canaanite nations like we were supposed to, according to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, the old inhabitants of the Canaanite, Hamite nations, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft. So they're known for all types of voodoo shit you see what these Haitians be up to. They learn that from them Hamites. They're the ones that's extremely unpleasant and repulsive, repellent, disgusting, offensive, repugnant. What is odious in the Bible? I don't know what's going on, why I can't. Odious in the Bible means hateful, detestable, or repulsive, describing things extremely unpleasant and offensive to God and people, often linked to sin, wickedness, and moral corruption, like an odious name or odious vice, and can also refer to something physically disgusting, like a foul smell representing covenant violation or extreme displeasure. And that's just ultimate wickedness, man. If you saw somebody, doing something just wicked as hell, man, they were known for that. And wicked sacrifices, it says. So they were known. This is why the Lord did that to them in the land. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's jump over there and get some Deuteronomy 7 and 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. And we broke this law. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou make unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So the Lord wasn't dealing with those damn Hamites. Okay, but thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. And that's going back to what they're doing over here, burning their graven images with fire. That's what you're supposed to do, so that the heathen understand that. Okay, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So there's a difference between Israel and the rest of these nations. Now you might not want your pride. You want Esau to hold your balls in his hand. But that's up to you. Okay, I go according to what the Lord said about us. Okay, you ain't got to believe it or not. That's your choice. But, what you believe in is going to come with a reward. Deuteronomy 7:7, the Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, have the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So he delivered us out of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. But that's the point. I wanted to get, let's just put it in little and little. It is Deuteronomy 7. Okay. It's just down more. Let's jump down. Deuteronomy 7, verse 22. And the Lord thy God will put out all those nations before thee by little and little, talking about these different Hamitic nations that are in Deuteronomy 7:1. The Girgashites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites. Thou mayest not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the field increase upon thee. So, you would just cause, the beasts of the field would increase upon you. So he had us do it strategically, right? So we wouldn't be overwhelmed. Even though they were mightier than us, the Lord created a way for us to get the victory, and we did. But the Lord thy God shall deliver them unto thee, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver their kings into thine hand, and thou shalt destroy their name from under heaven. There shall no man be able to stand before thee until thou have destroyed them. The graven images of their gods shall ye burn with fire. Thou shalt not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto thee, lest thou be snared therein, for it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. So pretty much, when you went to these idols, they would deck them with all type of gold, and they would make their idol look decked out. So it was important that you didn't covet the things that were on these idols, because Jake would probably put that on, and that would make other Israelites think like they would covet the things on the idol. Stop worshiping that same idol. So you're supposed to utterly detest their idols, is the point. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thine house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it, but thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. And Achor learned that the hard way. Worshiping these false idols, it angered the Lord, and he had to get put to death for that. Okay, or Achan, I should say. Joshua 7, verse 16. So Joshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Judah was taken. And he brought the family of Judah, and he took the family of the Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man, and Zabdi was taken. And he brought his household man by man, and Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, was taken. And Joshua said unto Achan, my son, give, I pray thee, glory to the Lord God of Israel, and make confession unto him. And tell me now what thou hast done, hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, indeed, I have sinned against the Lord God of Israel, and thus have I done. So he's telling them, when they went and took over, the conquest of Jericho, that's when Achan probably stole some shit over there. Then they started losing their battles, and then the Lord told Joshua, it's because, Joshua 7:12, therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except you destroy the accursed from among you. So the Lord told Joshua to destroy the accursed from among you. So it showed you that, the Lord, that sin, man, the Lord he wasn't gonna deal with you if you didn't want to obey him. That's why Israel needs leaders. Okay, we're not any regular people, man. We can't have no soft ass, weak ass. You gotta be careful of that, man. You know, because it tells you in Deuteronomy the 20th chapter that you'll make other people weak like that, man. It's important that we have our own houses in order before we go teach, because you'll put a weak ass spirit on people. Israel's already weak as hell, man. You're the weakest nation down here on the earth. No military might, no representation, nothing. You just gotta bear the burden like a slave down here. Okay? And the only form of power that you got is the Lord allowing you to know who you are in these last days. That's all you got. And then from that, you need to just, if you can't even hold on to that, you might as well just get put to death, man. Honestly. Okay. Anyways, Joshua 7 verse 20. And Achan answered Joshua. He said, I said, thus and thus have I done. So he's telling them everything. I did this. I took this, I was thinking that. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment and 200 shekels of silver and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels of weight, then I coveted them and took them, and behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Achan was well versed with Deuteronomy the 7th chapter. Having a leader, having a righteous judge like Joshua, lead you, you would know, these people would know the law. But he went off. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent, and behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before the Lord. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan, the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achor. So his sin cost him his whole family's life, his sheep, his oxen, everything that he had. And Joshua said, why hast thou troubled us? The Lord shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire after they had stoned him with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So the Lord turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor until this day. So Lord put him to death. And moral of the story is, you don't want to covet the things of these heathen, man. That covetous spirit, man, can cost people a lot. Not just your nation, but you yourself in your household too. But Israel continues, they're just a hard-headed people. Wisdom of Solomon 12 verse 5, and all those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh in the feast of blood. So the Lord is telling us with the ancient Canaanites, Baal's an ancient Canaanite god. So this is what they used to worship. Murderers of children, you hearing about that. Devourers of man's flesh, you're hearing about that. And if drinking of blood and eating of blood, man. These people are at the top of the food chain. And so the farther you get away from the Lord, the opposite of that is being with the elites, man. They practice all this shit. So if you in the middle, man, you just gonna get destroyed. Even if you want to cold, you're gonna be destroyed. You might have a longer life just being cold. But being in the middle, the Lord hates that, man. That lukewarm spirit. You either just be wicked. Go full blown, be wicked, run up the bag. The Lord give you all of that, man. Just go be a demon, full blown demon, man. Don't play with it. With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help. So that can be a multitude of different people, man. People taken from different countries. I was reading something about This MAGA candidate, this is MAGA candidate outed as new owner of Epstein property. I would share the video, but I got a strike. I'm gonna wait till my strikes are up. It says a duck devotee running for Texas comptroller. Let me look at this word, comptroller. What is a comptroller? A comptroller is a high-level executive or government official responsible for overseeing accounting, financial reporting, auditing, and fiscal management. See the demons in this world, man? I gotta grab this in the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter, because they're in high places, man. They're not going for no low-level, entry-level position. Okay? They're looking for the highest level they can get into so they could just be wicked as hell. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that's what that is. He's a demon. His spirit is off, and he wants to be in a position of power. That's where a principality goes into, of angels and demons. Okay, that's a demon. And look at what this nigga's doing, right? So a duck devotee, so says a lot about Duck. All the people around him purchased Jeffrey Epstein's secluded desert ranch in New Mexico, where multiple survivors said they were abused by the late sex offender. So this nigga saying, yeah, let me go buy that. Let me go buy that land. Records obtained by the Santa Fe New Mexican revealed that the businessman Don Huffin, 67, old-ass white Edomite demon, brought Epstein's infamous Zorro ranch in Santa Fe County years after the disgraced financier's death, supposed death. You know, there's people saying they're saying they AI generated videos, but you know, you always gotta see through the spirit, man. Okay, why would you put somebody to death like that? Like he gonna tell? He ain't gonna tell nothing. Dude's out of he's a full-blown demon. All you got to do is get to Israel, and he'll be fine. Give him a new identity, and he got a whole crew over there that'll bomb you to smithereens. How you gonna get him? Ain't nothing you could do. The sprawling property with a 26,700 square foot hilltop mansion was sold for an undisclosed amount in 2023 to San Rafael Ranch LLC, which the New Mexican tied to Huffinis and his family through public records requests. The property was valued at $27.5 million when it was first listed for sale in July 2021, 2 years after Epstein took his life at a New York correctional facility. So he's buying $27.5 million properties. Like these devils, that's high places, man. They got the fatness of the earth. The scriptures say that's part of their blessing. How the fuck he got all that money? Who the hell knows, man? Niggas drinking blood with the elite, so. And this is what the nigga look like right here. Fucking piece of shit. That's Duck's man right there. That's Little Duck. The ranch was valued for tax purposes at $21.1 million for tax year 2023, but San Rafael Ranch LLC protested, arguing in part that the notoriety of the property in the sales price justified a lower valuation and thus lower taxes, according to the New Mexican. They call him the New Mexican. The Santa Fe County assessor later valued the property at $13.4 million for tax year. I don't care about the property value, man. Jump down. 4 years after Mr. Epstein's death, the Huffines family purchased property in New Mexico, listed at public auction, whose proceeds benefited his victims. Prior to the auction listing, they had never visited the property, Huffines campaign spokesperson Alan Blakemore said in a statement. So, somebody who has ties to the niggas bought his crib. So, you know, and he's trying to run for a high position within your government from another person that was also on the list with this dude. So it goes to show you, man, how corrupt Shit really is, man. And ain't nobody gonna talk about it. I mean, it's just, it's so wicked over here. This thing, people are like, why are you still talking about that? Because this, you don't have any values, and it's gonna get to a point your family, you're gonna be faced with some shit too. They might give you access to the sacrificing too. You wanna get money too. They gonna give you the opportunity. What do you think the whole MOTB is about, man? That's sacrifice. That's making your body a living sacrifice to a foreign god. Okay. Huffines, a former state senator from Dallas, bills himself as a courageous MAGA Republican. MAGA means witchcraft in Latin. A witchcraft Republican seeking to Doge Texas. Doge goes back to Duke. He boasts endorsements from Senator Ted Cruz, conservative influencer Riley Gaines, and the late right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Polling released last week showed Huffines holding a steady lead over 3 other candidates in the GOP primary for Texas comptroller. So people are voting for this piece of shit. Bunch of Edomites. He's MAGA, right? So y'all support this type of shit too. This is who they support. They're all about all of this shit. They love this type shit. They want this to continue. He's running for comptroller to bring President Duck bold leadership and business-minded discipline to Austin. He's trying to that ain't bold leadership. Wickedness. Tells you in 1 Maccabees 1:9. Let's grab that. I'm done with this. We can drop that. 1 Maccabees. We'll go to 1, verse 9. I'll start at 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So just like when the Greeks first came into power, when Esau first really stepped up, he was doing all types of wickedness, man. It said evils multiplied in the earth, and now look at how much more evils are multiplying in the earth, the more power they have. That's why this shit gotta come to an end, man. Lord's going to destroy this place because of it. And there's so much stuff that we're not even privy to. Now this article, I know a little bit more about this. There's whoever brought up this report pretty much said there was people buried on this land. So he wants a full investigation of the land to see any bodies. That's because of the Epstein files. They're saying that there was some bodies on it, but this ain't even talking about that. So you got to piece the puzzle together. You get some information on X. It could be, who knows? But that's what I'm hearing on X when I was looking this up. It says he's running for, I read that Epstein purchased Zorro Ranch in 93 from former New Mexico Governor Bruce King. The notorious pedophile once confided to scientists that he wanted to spread his DNA across the human race by impregnating women at the ranch, according to 4 sources who spake to New York Times. And because nobody wants to be with a piece of shit that look like this, man. This dude, look at him. So what he'll do is he'll kidnap you, drug you, and lock you up in some basement somewhere, man, until you lose your damn mind to the point where you get Stockholm syndrome and you think he's your best friend at that point. Several survivors said they were abused by Epstein at the ranch during their youth. Among them was Jane, who said she was only 14 when she suffered abuse at Epstein's properties, including the one in New Mexico, Virginia. One of the most outspoken victims was also pictured at the ranch. And you'd be surprised, man. Some of these people that they got, they probably breeding some of these kids, man. Who knows, man? Type of shit these people, undocumented people from all over the world. Just crazy shit, man. These people are powerful. They got access to a lot of different things. 2019, New Mexico state land turned over 400 pages of documents related to Epstein's purchase of the property. New Mexico lawmakers are pushing for the creation of a bipartisan truth commission to get to the bottom of Epstein's crimes at Zorro Ranch. What we're going to try to do is get everything on the record in the time span that he was there. Here, State Representative Andrea Romero told KOB4 last week when we heard the allegations from his various victims of people who alleged that they were trafficked here, that they were sexually abused here, some as children. I'm just heartbroken, and it's just so disgusting to think that happened on our watch at all. And this is going back to Baal worship too. You know, just like it was saying in Wisdom of Solomon, the idolatrous crew. Okay, we looking at his idolatrous crew. And they're in high positions of power. They're all friends. Can two walk together unless they be agreed? Amos 3:3. Yeah, can two walk together except they be agreed? You know, and tells you that, going back to that Baal worship. Merciless murderers of children. That's Esau. So the fact that they're burning their gods, that's what you're supposed to do. You got to get rid of all idols in the land when you take it over. Not supposed to covet anything from it. You know, nowadays they'll just have you worship it and give you all this shit. Oh, okay. What do you want? You know, they have you do some fucked up shit and then be like, wait, I wanted a record deal. Okay, there you go. Yeah, but I wanted like $5 million. Oh, you got to do more than just that then. $5 million deal, you might have to do something worse than that. You know, and it got to the point where it's so mainstream that anyone trying to even get into that area, anyone that's trying to be something in Babylon, you got to think this is a demon. You know, it's like no one's standing up for righteousness. The only ones at the end of it, when it's all said and done, the only ones that's going to be standing up for righteousness is the children of Israel. Okay, I was talking to some basehead after I turned off the camera on the highways and hedges. He was telling me, smart as hell, but then he don't, he know a lot about the Bible and stuff, but he don't know the name of the Lord. He think Israel's the, come on, man. You think those people are the Israelites, man? I'm not talking to some dude about them dudes over here. You think that, man, that it is what it is. This word's all over the internet, but yet you don't know, so the Lord ain't dealing with you. Continue, just be cold, man. The burning, some reported to have taken place at the same time in different cities, read that. Iranian news agency MER said the effigy represented the idol of Baal. I read all of that. Let me jump down. Images circulated by Iranian and foreign media showed a giant statue with a bull's head engulfed in flames in Tehran's Azadi Square. Some versions included additional imagery such as the number 666 and references to U.S. President Donald Duck. Hardline outlets and channels said the burning was a symbolic reference to documents recently released by the U.S. Justice Department related to Epstein. So these different nations are seeing what's going on over here, man. Just a Google search away. Who was charged in 2019 with running a sex trafficking ring involving underage girls. Epstein died in jail later that year. And I don't believe that. I don't believe nothing these devils talk about, man. They say he's dead. I'm led to believe he's still alive. Just because they said he's dead. Because they're full of shit. That's how they talk. They just lie. They don't have no shame. No, they don't give a fuck. And the difference between the righteous and the wicked is the wicked, they hide their hand. They put mask over their face. They cover their eyes, and but the righteous are bold as a lion. They out on they ain't hiding the word and being discreet. They telling you gonna be destroyed, and it's just bold. And whatever happens with that, hey, it is what it is. But they just move differently. They do everything in secret. they in the dark where no one can be. Then they got costumes on and goat heads on their head, and these people are dumb, man. People are dumb, and then they're in high parts of your society. Let's see. It says online speculation in recent weeks have revived unverified allegations linking Epstein to ancient deities such as Baal or Moloch, figures that in some traditions associated with child sacrifice. Yeah, so that's who he worships. You got the Bohemian Grove, so this is what, they supposedly do. Alex Jones went over there. Saw them supposedly doing a mock sacrifice. Like, you got OVO. They put it in your music. Got the owl. That's Moloch. The same thing at Moloch, you got to do the same thing that you do for Baal. It's just sacrifice. They're pretty much the same type of God. Fact checkers in mainstream media have previously reported that many such claims stem from misinterpretation of financial documents or from long-standing internet conspiracy theories, including allegations about a temple on Epstein's private island that U.S. media said was designed as a music pavilion. Sure. Yeah, that temple right there. Now, that's not a temple. I call it a music pavilion. The fuck out of here. Shit looks just like a temple, and when you look at it, it's a white and blue striped building. Nothing's really in it, but then it got this golden dome on the top, just like a temple. Let's look at some temples. Temples with golden domes on the top. Look at that, the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. See, dome is a anagram for Edom. Is it an anagram as a word? You can spell Edom with the word dome. Same thing. And he got and what is that? It's a temple. Several iconic temples and religious buildings are renowned for their or include golden domes, most notably the 7th century Islamic shrine, the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, which features a prominent gold-plated dome. Other major sites include Orthodox churches like St. Sophia Cathedral in Kiev and the Kinkakuji. And Kiev in Ukraine is known for a lot of human trafficking and shit like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's going on big time over there during the war, because then shit's all blurred out when it comes to wars. What else did I want to say? The Golden Dome, Epstein Temple. Images. You see, this shit got a golden dome too. No, that's not. That's something different. Full of shit, man. So I don't trust these niggas at all. Pretty much done with that. What he called it? He called it, it's a music pavilion. Sure it is. Baal, a title meaning Lord in ancient Semitic languages, was worshipped by Canaanite peoples in the ancient Near East and portrayed in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic texts as a false deity. Some scholars say there is limited archaeological evidence of child sacrifice practices in parts of ancient Levant, though interpretations remain debated, of course. Well, the Lord told you in Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter. And what else? Let's just type it in. Moloch. You can read it for yourself. Amos 5 verse 26. But ye have borne the tabernacles of your Moloch and chewing your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Ye took up the Acts 7 and 43. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your God, Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you beyond Babylon. I'm thinking of something in Isaiah. fire. KJV, Isaiah. Isaiah 43:2. It's not, I think it's like 8 or something. Cause thy children to pass. That was Isaiah. Okay, Jeremiah 32. That might be it. Let's try Jeremiah 32. Jeremiah 32, because of all the evil of the children of Israel and of the, Jeremiah 32:32, and the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets, and the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and they have turned unto me the back and not the face, though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, yet they have not hearkened to receive instruction. But they set their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to defile it. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. So there you go. You know, Israel was doing it too. All right. And they still doing it. That's why them niggas make them do it. Iranian organizers described the statue burning as a symbolic protest aimed at drawing attention to alleged moral corruption in the West. One conservative outlet linked the initiative to the Masav Institute, a group associated with the propagandist Ali Akbar, which has promoted anti-Western and anti-Zionist narratives. But these niggas be worshiping Allah. That's that Dome of the Rock. That's in Jerusalem. That's an Islamic temple. Look just like Jeffrey Epstein's fucking temple. These people are full of shit too. The heathen, they hypocritical, man. I ain't saying they're better than the other, but you know, both of these damn heathen, man, they need to get, they both need to get their asses kicked. The coordinated burnings form part of broader anniversary events that included anti-U.S. and anti-Israel slogans, flag burnings, and displays criticizing Western governments. There's a lot here. I'm just, you know, they burning Baal. And that's good, whatever. There's a scripture that says that, my fellas, just grab it. These idols ain't gonna save anyone. Isaiah 2:20. In that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, because they ain't gonna do nothing for you. You know, especially as Jacob's trouble continues to increase. That's why these heathen are done, man. They're screwed. You burning their idols, but you need to burn your own idols. There's only one God. All these false gods that are out here, you know, you're gonna see that whose God is the truth. Baal ain't telling you about the future. He's hitting you with making you pretty much be a demon. Isaiah 2:21, to go into the clefts of the rocks and into the top of the ragged rocks for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. That's when you're going to start throwing your idols away. Seize ye from man whose breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? You can't trust man, no way. Okay, and you're going to have to pay for serving these false gods. All right. It says the Taliban will offer aid to Tehran if U.S. strikes Iran, group spokesperson confirms. So that's another group. 5,000 men in Iraq was signing up to help Tehran if if Iran was attacked by America. So, and the Taliban too, and they never got rid of the Taliban. They were warring with the Taliban for years, and you think you're gonna get the edge on what do you call it? You think you're gonna get the edge on Iran? Taliban didn't have none of the capability that Iran has. They didn't have any fire planes, no tanks and shit like that. They were on foot. And they battled with you toe to toe for years in a desolate place. And so they're used to that. They're used to that type of combat. You got to go to long, you're looking at 20, 30 years fucking with Ishmael. Then last night you were bombing Syria, hitting 30 different bases for ISIS targets in Syria. So they're a handful over there. And then you want it with the Taliban too? Come on, man. You're out of your damn mind. Let me grab this in second address 15. Where is that at? Second address 15. And is it 15? Yeah, second address 15 and 28. Behold a horrible vision in the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So you're starting to see this horrible vision that Ezra was talking about, with the nations of the dragons of Arabia, which is these different Muslim countries coming together. Also the Carmanians are the Persians. So that's what he's saying here, okay? Taliban will offer to aid to Tehran if U.S. strikes Iran. So Tehran's the capital of Iran, which are the Persians, the Carmanians, dragons of Arabia, the Ishmaelites, okay, and the Elamites working in tangent with each other. And it's not just them, it's going to involve Turkey, all of these, Saudi Arabia, these different Muslim countries in that area. They're going to work together, and they're going to come up against Esau, Edom. And that's what he gets. That's what his ass gets. That's prophecy. Also the Carmanian, second address 15 and 30, raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Calls Ishmael a wild man in Genesis, I think the 12th chapter. Let's see where that's at. Genesis 16 and 12, it says, and he will be a wild man. As a matter of fact, let me read it. There's some more meat in there. No, this is just the point. Genesis 16 and 12. I'll start at 11. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, this is Haggai, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord Yahweh have heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And that's where he's at. He's in the presence of all his brethren. But he shall be like a wild man, and you see that number of wars over there. Ishmael been fighting for a long damn time, man. Nigga was whipping Russia's ass, beating up you Americans too. Okay, so it shows you how hard it is to take over a land. But the Lord put the spirit on Ishmael to be like that, just so he can fulfill prophecy. Okay. Second Esdras 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. So these different Arabian Ishmaelite nations going with the Carmanians, which are the Iranians, just like we're reading about in today's paper, in the Jerusalem Post. Okay. February 16, 2026. So that's what's going on, man. Second Edges 15 is speaking. All right. And shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So, the Assyrians also goes into the Edomites. They occupy Israel. So that's a portion of their land. Wherever he said Iran don't have nuclear capability that can hit. Well, not yet. He got ICBM missiles that could hit Israel, though. But who knows? As as we progress, I wouldn't be surprised, because Nada Jew was talking about drawing the red line with the ICBMs, which are intercontinental ballistic missiles. So that might transcend to go over to past that their firing range. But what I was looking for is Ishmael is actually an archer too. Genesis 21 points in 20, but it's talking about Ishmael. I'll start at 17. Genesis 21:17. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven. That's his mother, Ishmael's mom, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God have heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And he did make Ishmael a great nation. Look how great. You look at Saudi Arabia, look at Iran. Not Iran's, they're not Ishmael, they're Elamites. But, they've mixed into worshiping that Muslim stuff, Islamic, I don't know what you call it, Muslim, the Quran, I would say. He made him a great nation. He got his own prophets. I think he had similar to us, 12 prophets or something like that. I don't really know too much about Ishmael's, but Ishmael he has his portion on this side, is what I'm trying to say. Genesis 21:19, and God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. So the Lord was dealing with Ishmael too. He didn't just throw him to the wolves. He took care of him, made sure that he was good. And he did make him a great nation. So that's already been fulfilled. Genesis 21:20, and God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. So this is talking about Ishmael. So he became an archer. Okay, and he's going to be used, probably those Saudi Arabians. Because I'm thinking, Turkey would fall under the Islamic umbrella. He got thermonuclear capability. He gonna click up with the Russians too. All that bend the bow, shoot at her. All right, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, who? Esau. Then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. Okay, they shall flee, man. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their host shall be fear. Their host is your army, and dread and strife among their kings. Okay. So they shall flee, just like it happened to grab this in Second Maccabees. His Second Maccabees, I think it's is it Second Maccabees? Let me see. Verse 6. Nope. Verse 9. Yeah. Second Maccabees, chapter 9, verse 1. About that time came Antiochus with dishonor out of the country of Persia. Okay, so that's him fleeing from what's going to happen. Just like he did his forefather Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth. He went in there, tried to rob them so he can pay his military off and come up against us. But he left that place with dishonor. Then the Lord plagued his ass. Okay, for he had entered into the city called Persepolis and went about to rob the temple and to hold the city, whereupon the multitude running to defend themselves with their weapons put them to flight. And so it happened, Antiochus being put to flight of the inhabitants returned with shame. And that's exactly what's going to happen with him again. Going in there, nigga, you know you can't go in there and win. Nah, he's still pride. He did go into Persia. He took down 120 provinces. You know, like I said in First Maccabees, the first chapter, that was in a short period of time, 12 years, but those days are over. You're not in that time anymore. All right? You at the end of your rope. All you damn devils that are out there, from any of you heathen nations. So that's Ishmael talking, man. There's prophecy speaking right here, man. Taliban's on the scene. The Taliban will aid and assist the Islamic Republic of Iran in the event of U.S. strikes on the country. The group spokesperson ZM told radio's Iran's Pashto language service on Sunday, Afghan's people would show sympathy and possibly cooperate with Iran if requested. Mujahid clarified, noting that this would not automatically pull a Sunni group into joining a retaliatory war against the U.S. So this is Sunni. They're a Shiite group. Iran is Shiite. Iran is Shia or Sunni. Iran is predominantly a Shia Muslim country. Okay, so... Okay. Taliban is strictly Sunni Muslim, so it goes to show you that's the dragons of Arabia coming together. They don't even like each other, but when it comes to Esau, they're gonna put those differences aside because the shit that these niggas are being accused of, they're probably using, people like him, like, look at this nigga. This nigga's a devil. Niggas buying the whole Jeffrey Epstein's thing, and they trying to hire him in Texas, and they trying to keep that pedo train going. And the people are voting for him too. People of Texas. So Texas is gonna get wiped off the face of the map. DHS watchdog warns shutdown could imperil immigration enforcement. Let me see, am I done? That's the point. That's pretty much all I want to bring out on that. They're going to be destroyed fucking with those Persians. They're going to fuck them up. Let me grab this in the book of Isaiah 21. Got another precept. Isaiah 21 and 1. The burden of the desert of the sea, as whirlwinds in the south pass through. So it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media, all the sighing thereof have I made thee to see. So go up, O Elam, which is the Persians, besiege, O Media, which are the Russians. Okay? The Medo-Persians took down Babylon. Okay, and they allowed us to rebuild the temple, and the Lord's using those same spirits again to do that type of work again. Isaiah 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So, besiege old Elam, besiege old Media. Okay, Elam is just, that's what the Carmanians are, which are the Persians, which are the modern day Iranians. They switched their name from Persia to Iran in 19 something. I forgot. When did Iran switch their name from Persia? Iran officially changed its name from Persia to Iran in 1935, so there you go. Look at that, Iran, meaning land of the Aryans. Esau calls himself the Aryan. He think he the supreme race. He stole all this shit, man. Ain't nothing supreme about you, nigga. Stupid ass, you a base man. Damn heathen. Can't wait to smack you with whips. Just a liar, just a full-blown scum of the earth, just a piece of shit. Can't wait to put handcuffs on you devils, man. And put my hand around your neck like it tells you in Genesis, the 49th chapter. The partial government shutdown that went into effect Saturday is throwing the fate of oversight at the Department of Homeland Security in peril, with the department's independent watchdog warning a lapse in funding could jeopardize several ongoing investigations. DHS Inspector General currently has 8 active probes into the Duck administration's nationwide immigration crackdown, including reviews of the use of facial recognition and allegations of immigration and custom enforcement agents using excessive force. As a matter of fact, that just made me think. Chicago armed robbery caught on camera. Yeah, a 49-year-old man was allegedly targeted by 2 masked suspects in what police described as an armed robbery on a busy Chicago street. The shocking attack caught on camera is now making rounds online and leaving many disturbed. Read more. I'm just going to jump down. Listen to this. Residents demand more security. Fulton Market business owners have reportedly urged police to increase patrols and add more security cameras to prevent such violent incidents in the neighborhood. The upscale area has long been considered a hotspot for armed robberies and burglaries. So yeah, there's always more surveillance. That's the answer to everything. We just need to be more. We need more surveillance. Walter Burnett, alderman of the 27th Ward, described the incident as isolated. First and foremost, I'm grateful that there was no serious harm. Burnett further said that ensuring the safety of residents remains a key priority for the 27th Ward. He added that he had spoken to the 12th District Commander, James Byer, who was aware of the incident and was assured that police presence in the area would be increased. According to him, authorities believe the attack appears to be an isolated event. When you watch the news on it, it was basically, they told you that they had plans to set up mad extra cameras all over the place. Probably if you watch it, they got a gun to this dude's head. But shit like this opens the door for people to beg for more help, more security, more laws being taken away. And then including reviews of the use of facial recognition. So they're doing all types of shit already. And allegations of immigration and customs enforcement agents using excessive force. So now, you can't look into that now. Now there's a partial government shutdown. So all these investigations are going to be put on hold. But with the lapse in funding for DHS, the Office of the Inspector General has been forced to suspend approximately 85% of its audits, evaluations, and inspections, according to the OIG. So this is why it's better to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. The Lord don't want you out there, man. Ain't going to be no justice for you at this point. You transgressing the laws, man, you just gonna get your ass destroyed. Congressional Democrats are demanding sweeping reforms to ICE and Customs and Border Patrol before they'll vote to fund DHS, including requirements that immigration enforcement agents wear body cameras and display their ID numbers and last names, with Senate Republicans in the White House refusing to budge on several key demands, including a proposed prohibition on federal agents wearing masks. The department is likely to remain unfunded for at least 10 days. Anyway, so much here, but we'll see. What's this? Israel bombs Lebanon, Syria border, kills 4 people. So, hey, get it popping. I ain't going to read it. I'll read a little bit. Recommended story. Israel forces have bombed a vehicle near Lebanon's border with Syria, killing at least 4 people, according to the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health. So, Israel and America bombing in Syria. Matching up with Joel. Actually, yeah, Joel 2, verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army. And this is also going into having a draft, which is on the table. Him bombing Syria. He just sent troops to Nigeria. Okay. You know he's doing something in Venezuela. Cuba, they running out of oil, so who knows what he probably besieging that place. He might have to go boots on the ground over there. The Colombian president said he was I don't know, it was a weird assassination attempt. He was basically saying he couldn't even land on his landing strip. And he just came up here and talked to the president. Then right after he left, he couldn't even land. Like, come on, man. And would drive him into a land barren and desolate. Now, this is talking about Saudi Arabia, but they're already in that land bombing in Syria. That's right next to where they need to be. When they were doing the ceasefire situation, they sent 200 troops, last thing I heard, to Jerusalem to agree to some form of a ceasefire. So they're already in that area. They're already bombing in Syria. Okay, with this, and then you see what's going on with Iran, and you got the Taliban want to join. Iraq also had about 5,000 men signing up to defend Iran. This is Sunni and Shiite Muslims coming together. So all the shit that he's doing is only making these Muslims get closer and more clicked up together. So if they bombing over there, this is good because why? Prophecy's being fulfilled. Okay, so as long as that's going down, hey, we getting closer up out of here. Okay, so the Lord's working. All right, with his face toward the east sea. The east sea is the Euphrates River, and the hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, because he's gonna die, and his El Savor shall come up, because it's gonna be a lot of dead bodies, because he have done great things. Okay, and the greatest thing he did was come up against the nation of Israel. Okay. I forgot the precept I was looking for. But it basically says, let me see, I think it's F9, but it's F9. It says they help forward the affliction. Yeah, right here. It's Zechariah 1 verse 15. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they help forward the affliction. Right? Because at a time, you're supposed to you're supposed to Exodus 21. So, they put us to slavery, but according to the law, it tells you in Exodus 21:2, if thou buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. So the point is 400 plus years of slavery. That's, you talk about forward in the affliction. This is way beyond what the Bible says about a Hebrew servant. All right. So they went way beyond the point of, return, having mercy and all of that. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. You 400 years plus due, and these people still want to hold your hand, man. You out of your fucking mind. Fuck these people, man. It's time to go. Duck says Board of Peace will unveil $5 billion in Gaza reconstruction pledges at inaugural meeting. You ain't building up Gaza, okay? The nation of Israel. You going to work. You gonna build it up, not by no Board of Peace. You gonna build it up with your own sweat and blood, according to the book of Ezekiel 39, in verse number where is it? 11. Can't see it. Nope, I see it. Ezekiel 39. And I'll start at 12. In 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them. Maybe I should have started up. But it's talking about all these dead bodies. And Israel's not going to be burying anything. We're going to be using the heathen to do that. That they may cleanse the land. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them. Talking about these dead bodies. And it shall be to them. And just all over the world, because Israel's going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. So wherever these dead bodies are, you're going to be putting them, cleaning up the land, man. And it ain't going to be in Babylon either. Babylon's going to be fully destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. The fire's going to clean up those bodies. But everywhere else, you got cleaning to do, Esau. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Lord Yahweh. And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. So a certain amount of time you're going to be burying these bodies. And the passengers that pass through the land, when they seeth a man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamona. Thus shall they cleanse the land. So we're going to sever out people of continual employment to bury these dead bodies. So you reconstruction pledges at inaugural meeting. Listen, man. It tells you in the book of Malachi, 1 verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So what's going to happen after they get thrown down? Ezekiel, the 39th chapter. All right, so I'm not going to read that. I'll read a little bit. The pledges will be formally announced when board members gather in Washington on Thursday for their first meeting, he says. So the first Board of Peace meeting's happening on Thursday. Tomorrow is the 17th, and we got a solar eclipse in Antarctica for some reason. But it's good to see what kind of bills he's going to be passing tomorrow. On the 17th, the Board of Peace will prove to be the most consequential international body in history, and it is my honor to serve as its chairman, Duck said in a social media posting announcing the pledges. Man, you need to be announcing that list. Okay. And the fact that these other world leaders paying them billions of dollars to work with them, it shows you this world's wicked as hell, man. But these heathen got a role to play, and the Lord wants it to play out that way. It is what it is. Whatever whatever the Lord wants to do, hey, I'm with it. I'm with it. Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord's turning the hearts of these kings to do his will. Who am I to say anything against it? Isaiah 55:8, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. So let the Lord do his thing. All right. He's doing his thing. We got to endure unto the end. Psalms 119 and verse 126. It is time for thee, Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. So he's working. He's working, man. They made void the law. There's no execution of judgment. It has to be like that. The Lord's long suffering, but this is speeding everything up. It's allowing that flow of wickedness to continue to reach the fulfillment of prophecy. According to Revelation, the 18th chapter. When your sins reach up to heaven, then the Lord is a cutoff point. U.S. military boards another oil tanker in Indian Ocean after tracking it from the Caribbean. So they still stealing. I think this is the second one they got. I'll read a little bit of this when I end it. Washington AP, U.S. military forces boarded another sanctioned tanker in the Indian Ocean after tracking the vessel from the Caribbean Sea in an effort to target illicit oil connected to Venezuela, the Pentagon said on Sunday. I guess they're trying to send oil over there. I don't know. Venezuela had faced U.S. sanctions on its oil for several years, relying on a shadow fleet of falsely flagged tankers to smuggle crude into global supply chains. President Donald Duck ordered a quarantine of sanctioned tankers in December to pressure then President Nicolas Maduro, before Maduro was apprehended in January during an American military op. Several tankers fled the Venezuelan coast in the wake of the raid, including the ship that was boarded in the Indian Ocean overnight. The Defense Department said in a post on X that U.S. forces boarded the Veronica 3, conducting a right of visit maritime interdiction in boarding. As a matter of fact, I didn't even... All right. A vessel tried to defy President Duck's quarantine, hoping to slip away. The Pentagon said we tracked it from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean, closed the distance, and shut it down. Video posted by the Pentagon shows U.S. troops boarding the tanker. Sure, so what you gonna do with that tanker? Sell it? Probably. Let me end it on this. Book of John 10:10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this is edifying. Shalom.